Hola, me llamo Colin y estudié en Salamanca. My name is Colin. I am from Walled Lake, Michigan, which is near Detroit. I study Spanish and religion as well as a minor in American Ethnic Studies. When I came into Hope, I could write pretty well and I could listen more or less well, but I was not good at speaking at all by any means. And now today, after 4 years, I'm very comfortable speaking. It doesn't mean that I speak like a native, but I'm comfortable having conversations, and not just basic conversations anymore. Well, I guess on a practical note, I'd never been to Europe. I'd been, like I said, in high school to Peru, so I knew I wanted to go to Spain. And there's lots of different kinds of pros and cons for each place. In the end, I realized I wanted to go somewhere off the beaten path for a few reasons. One, because I didn't really want to be in a big setting. I've never lived in a big city. It would just been, I think, more than I was looking for. I went in solely looking to become better at speaking Spanish, but I left realizing that I totally underestimated the relationships that I made and just the thoughts that came to mind when you're in a different culture and you're thinking about things you wouldn't even realize you'd be thinking about because you take it for granted here. So I guess when I look back, it's the friendships that I made, not necessarily the homework that I did, even though I did do homework, yes. But those friendships that I made were the most important, I think, and as well as just time for self-reflection. Well, I've mentioned that I'm a Spanish and religion major, so I want to do some kind of work in the church, and I'm thinking of doing like Hispanic ministry, really. So working at a church where there's both English speakers and Spanish speakers, although I'm not exactly sure what that might look like, but at least for going into next year, I'm going to be teaching English in Lima, Peru for a year through the Fulbright program, and I'm hoping to once again get better at just develop my pronunciation and my fluidity with the language, but also to really come to know the culture and the people better so that when I one day hope to minister to them, I can really meet them at home. Certainly my language major made that possible. I don't think they really would have looked at, for the specific country I applied to, Peru, I think because it's working with university students there, they really need you to know Spanish. So that opened the door, essentially, in that alone. But after that, what I learned in my class on linguistics about how to teach a second language, as well as the opportunity I had to do an internship at a middle school in Spain, that gave me both the know-how to talk about different kinds of activities I would implement in the classroom, as well as like personal experiences to relate in the essays. And so I think without a language major and without studying abroad, I wouldn't have had the resources to really explain myself and my ideas and my character. I think that my Spanish major has given me reason to take notice of the things that my friends who are Hispanic are experiencing here in Holland. The church I go to has a good mix of English and Spanish speakers, and so one of the things that the church is really caring about is the issue of refugees and immigrants. And so just with the contact I've had at my church, it's kind of, those weren't topics that I necessarily would have chosen to involve myself in. I feel like I kind of got involved initially by chance or just by circumstance, but I'm really glad that happened. I can't think of any other major that really opens as many doors as a language. Even if it's not your primary major, I haven't necessarily seen it as mine. I've always kind of focused a little bit more on religion, and I've hoped that I can, bring my language capabilities in so that I can, either have a better chance of getting a job or, communicate, as I've mentioned before, with basically a greater percentage of the church, especially because in the U.S. it's only becoming more Spanish speaking. So really, I can't think of a major besides a language major that really opens up doors to do things after college and for the rest of your life. And not just your opportunities, but I guess yourself as well. It really makes you, I mean, like for example, when I read the Bible in Spanish, I kind of catch a whole different side of it that I never would have in English. So it's just, you know, it's not only for the opportunities afterward, but also just for self-reflection and for self-growth. It just opens your mind, I guess, and changes you as a person.